Inventory is an interesting section. You know, here what this is really a series of layered reports that allows me to maybe analyze revenue or dollar volume or where transactions are sitting on hand. I can then quickly look at margin analysis. So if I'm looking at total revenue, total costs, you know, I can then slice and dice this based on particular categories, if you will, of inventory within my environment. I can switch it to look at just a date range. So again, not a static report, but allowing the users to really mine and analyze the data they would want to in a way they want to. We can do things like income statements and balance sheets as well. So if you're thinking about more of what would maybe be considered a static report, that's certainly an option with Power BI. So this is really that first step. It's allowing the users to slice and dice the data and analyze it in the way that they would want to. The next step really is thinking about and allowing Power BI to do some analysis for me. So in this case, I actually have an operating efficiency report. So this is looking at work centers, it's looking at availability, it's looking at performance, it's looking at quality. You know, in a traditional sense, I'd be looking at a report like this, overall equipment effectiveness, and I might be able to see performance, quality measures, et cetera. I certainly can use slicers, just like we saw in that first set of reports. I can look at first shift, second shift, so allowing the users to slice and dice the data. Interactive abilities, really like what we saw in the first place. But trying to drill into this, overall effectiveness, I'd like to do some further analysis, and Power BI actually provides tools that I can leverage inside of Power BI itself, and it's using this little analyze utility. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to analyze the data that's inside of this particular chart for me, and it's going to allow me to do some analysis against that data set to find those exceptions. And what you can see here is if I've got my standard distribution and I can see, changeover in regular maintenance now accounts for more loss than the other sections does. And I'm able to not just sort of create a set of slicers here, but I'm actually able to do some statistical analysis against my data set. And Power BI is actually doing it for me. I don't have to create any additional reports to be able to take advantage of these tools. So again, right click, analyze, allows me to see that, material shortages is my other biggest problem here, right? I can look at performance time loss, and again, doing an analysis there. And I can see, slow cycles is an account that's basically the same, and that's basically the same. So again, allowing an analyze tool built within Power BI to help me further determine what's going on inside of my data sets. What you're seeing here is using some very sophisticated statistical analysis, really using that machine learning component that's embedded inside of Power BI to do that analysis. Again, that chart I was thinking about, static reports, moving up that value chain into real analysis. A tool like Power BI can allow us to do that. The next step is really to be able to interact with my data sets while I'm in a report. And what that is going to show us is the shift scheduling. So this, oops, not that one. Yeah, cycle times. Okay, so really the scenario here is I have a planned expected cycle time for a given work center, and then I have this average cycle time. And what we can see as we look at this report that I have some, planned cycle times, and what I'm actually experiencing are very different. And maybe this is an anomaly. Maybe though my expected cycle time really should be 8, and I've got it set at 4. So this is really impacting everything that's happening in terms of planning. I'm planning at 4, but it's actually happening at 8. What this report is showing you is it's a Power BI report, but this is actually an embedded Power app inside of my Power BI report. And what you're seeing here is actually the ability to perform an edit function against my system, so that instead of navigating over to the ERP system, updating my runtime and coming back to the report, I actually can provide a mechanism inside the report itself for the users to make changes back into my ERP system. So once again, we're seeing that evolution of reporting is not just static reports, is not just interactive reports, is not just analysis reporting, but it's allowing me to perform actions against my data set while I'm in a report. So really a whole paradigm shift in terms of what's possible in terms of reporting today is now possible with Power BI when we connect it together with a tool such as a Power App. So just a whole new possibility sets for us as we think about Power BI and reporting. Lots of things can be done with Power BI in terms of data sets. If you actually have a dashboard, what that would allow us to do is to take, for example, components of those sub-reports, creating a single dashboard. So I can combine different chart elements, different views of my data into a single space, still allowing my user then to, let's say, drill into the particular report. So if you think of a subset of data that allows me to drill in, it's a little different than that tab metaphor that I showed you initially. This is more of a true what Power BI would consider a dashboard. So just some different navigation options. Power BI also allows you to set up a lot of workspaces. So workspaces can be set up around teams, can be a work group, it could be a particular department. And then within a workspace, you can see I can have multiple reports, multiple data sets, as well as dashboards combined together to include a specific reporting package or view of data for my end users. So very different paradigm in terms of what could be when you think about a tool like Power BI.